Thank you to Lesley Morris-Iveson for passing me the glass. I'm Glada Lahn from the Environment and Society Centre at Chatham House in London, which is the Royal Institute of International Affairs. A statistic that I wish everyone knew about water. I wish that everyone knew the impact that every product that we consume has on water in the place in which it is produced. We have a problem with trade. Traded goods are estimated to account for about 30% of freshwater abstraction globally, and the volume of trade between countries has doubled in the last 25 years, more than doubled, in fact. And the majority of that is for goods that we consume every day. So food, textiles, minerals and metals, for energy, for electronics. These are some of the most water-intensive goods. And the water use itself is not the problem, but the manner in which it is happening is. So first of all, there's highly unsustainable use of water. In many cases, we see depleting groundwater, lower river levels, diverted rivers, and these have ramifications for the communities and the states that share those resources. Secondly, where is the trade headed? Where is that production headed? Well, it's generally coming from water vulnerable regions to richer industrialized countries where people consume a lot more. And a study last year showed that countries in the global north are dependent on external sources of water for between 40 and 80% of what they consume, and at least half of the fresh water withdrawals used to produce those goods is coming from areas that are moderately to severely water scarce, with climate change making this worse, of course. I wish everyone knew the extent to which we as human beings are altering the hydrological cycle. That is the flow and the transformation of water around the planet. It's essential for all life. We don't have a metric for this, it's pretty complex. But what we do know is that a number of things, including diverting water, damming, urban buildup, massive overexploitation of water sources for industry, and you know, that taken together with climate change are changing that cycle with potentially really chaotic impacts. And one of the problems is that we've taken water for granted. It seems plentiful, but even in the last 100 years, freshwater withdrawals have increased by 600% or so worldwide. And fresh water is becoming a really seriously challenged resource. We've already seen in cities like Cape Town and Mexico City coming close to day zero for water, and that affects millions of people. And yet we're still failing to value it. And that shows in how a lot of production of commodities gravitates to areas with the lowest cost and regulation for water, even when those areas are water scarce. Well, last year there was a report from the Global Commission on the Economics of Water, and that commission included leaders from the WTO, from the World Bank, the OECD, these major multilateral influencers. And it found that we need to treat the hydrological cycle as a global common good and value it accordingly. It argues that trade policy must be used as a tool for more sustainable use of water, and we must make sure that trade policy doesn't make the situation worse. And in terms of those local impacts, it recommends that footprints are a conditionality for water rights for industry and agriculture, for example, that would incentivize businesses towards sustainable practices. And I'm working on just that kind of partnership. At the moment, it's called the Fair Water Footprints Partnership. It began with a declaration at the Glasgow Climate Change Conference in 2021 in the UK, and it's supported by the UK government. It essentially brings together country governments, industry, and civil society to raise awareness of water footprints in traded goods, and get supplier countries and importing countries to work together with industry, with civil society, to solve these problems. So who would I like to hear answer these questions? I'd like to pass the glass to NGO leader and social entrepreneur Muthi Nhlema.